welcome back to the School for Professional Dog Listeners YouTube channel. Today, Kate and I are stepping back to look at a bigger picture because we're seeing that something is shifting in the dog world right now. So for decades, the word training has almost meant just one thing: obedience. It was always about commands and corrections. And if we're honest, getting a dog to fit into our human world, no matter how they felt about it. So for a long time, we just accepted that, and we thought a good dog was... Hello everyone, and welcome back to the School for Professional Dog Listeners YouTube channel. So today it's Kate and I, and we're going to step back a little bit and we're going to have a look at a big picture topic because we're seeing that something's shifting in the dog world right now. For decades, the word training has meant one thing really: obedience. It's always been about commands and corrections, and probably also getting a dog to fit into our human world, no matter how they felt about it. So for a long time, we've kind of accepted that, and we thought a good dog was a dog that did exactly what it was told the second it was told to do it. These days, I think, though, people are starting to ask different questions. They might be asking, is my dog actually happy, or are they just compliant? Or why does this behaviour keep coming back even though I've trained it out of them? So I think deep down many people are thinking and seeing something is missing. Almost like there's a little disconnect. So we love our dogs like family, yet our traditional ways of training them feels more like a military drill than a relationship. Or we might just be able to see that we're kind of winding them up all the time with fancy tricks, and we find ourselves constantly saying no. So today we want to talk about moving from this concept of control and over to communicating better with our dogs. So let's start talking about that word obedience. In the human world, it's often really valued. But in the dog world, if a dog is only good because they're afraid of the consequence of being bad, then that's not really a relationship. That's a contract based on pressure. Kate, with the clients that you are working with, are you seeing that some of them might have dogs that can sit and stay perfectly well, but still remain anxious or reactive?
Yeah, and it's really funny whenever I talk to a new client or go to someone's house, the first thing they'll say, we're really struggling with this, but they can do this, this, and this. So they can sit, they can stay, they can spin, they can give me a paw. And so they almost want to show you, look, I can control my dog because I can get them to do all these tricks. And the owner feels like proud of the fact that they can get their dog to do that. But the underlying core reason behind the behaviors that they're struggling with is the fact that, as you said, that there's not that communication there's not that core understanding of their dog. Yes, they've taught them to do some tricks, or to lay down on a mat or to stay in a particular spot for a moment, but it's not changing the dog's mindset around understanding each other. So yeah, it's really interesting, the
I've got,
obedience training.
sorry to interrupt, I've got a really nice example that I think shows it quite simply. And I call it the coiled spring. So many people will have their dogs sit down and wait at the front door as they're leaving for a walk, for example. And the dog will do that. But as the door opens and the person makes that first step, the dog's like whoosh and straight out, and then sort of pulled out of the door. And I describe that that moment of that dog really doing its best to do what's asked of him or her, but they're literally like a coiled spring. They're like, I'm doing it, but I know what's going to happen next. So we're not actually making an impact on the energy because we haven't changed the reason why the dog is doing that massive pull into the outside world.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's something that training often misses that I think we as dog listeners can capture or catch. We're trying to look at the behaviour as how can we communicate better so that the dog understands better, rather than seeing it as a symptom and one problem to fix each time. It's like if we have a dog reactive on the lead, it's not useful to see them as bad or disobedient. Actually, what's really useful is to see it that they're telling us, communicating with us, that they don't feel safe, that there's something worrying them.
Mm. And I think that's what dog listening does, isn't it? It gets you to see beyond the behavior and really question the why behind it. And then leads into the core reason, which is often miscommunication between the person and the dog.
So it's less about, dog listening is less about getting a dog to do something, and it's much more about, well, it's our be all and end all, isn't it? It's about helping them feel safe enough so that they no longer need to do that behaviour that for us, for some people may look disobedient, but certainly it's challenging for us to live with.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we as humans feel better when we're doing something, because then we feel like, okay, we're doing something to help our dog. We're physically doing something. And so we feel like obedience helps because we're doing something. Whereas for the dog, they're just doing something because there might be some food in it for them, or there might be, I don't know, some pain in it if they don't comply. And so what dog listening does is it actually stops the whole doing thing, and it's more about being and understanding your dog. And as humans, I think we find that difficult because we always want to be in control and do stuff because then we feel like we're doing something.
It feels like we are doing our best when we're
Yes.
doing. It's a difficult it's a difficult conversation to have sometimes with people who are very used to doing, and very successful people sometimes. They've always done it really well, whatever it is, but the dog is not falling into that anymore. So to try and kind of have that conversation with our clients about, okay, let's just do less. Yeah, it's a tricky one.
I've had I've worked with a lot of professionals that are maybe are agility professionals, dog trainers, then can get their dog to do like all these fancy tricks and can teach other people to get their dog to do fancy tricks. But when it came to their own dogs and understanding them, they just didn't know how that worked, and they were having problems, and they felt guilty about it because they're like, I'm a really good dog trainer
Yeah.
and then I'm having these issues, and so it's really interesting when they make that shift. And as we always say, don't we, like the dog listening is the foundational kind of piece, understanding your dog, learning how to communicate with them, and then of course like teach them to jump up on a, I don't know, whatever it is, or to stand on your head or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
It's that foundational element. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say that we would that people will never lose the skills that they've worked really hard with their dogs to do, all of those little tricks and skills that they've learned. They'll never lose that, even if they take some time off. But it's like baking a cake, and we always say, don't we, dog listening is the cake, that foundation, and then the icing is whatever else you want to do, the agility, the tricks and the training can happen absolutely on top of that. But the key concept is we have to communicate with our dogs so that they stop feeling the need to be the protector, the manager of the house. And that takes the slower, quieter version of communication. But when that weight of responsibility is lifted from a dog, it's so fascinating to see those bad behaviours just kind of disappear sometimes. Sometimes you don't need to even tackle them directly because we've given the dog that reason to not need to do it anymore. it's quite an interesting change in human mentality, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why people are questioning their relationship with their dog more, because it was always just, I mean, I remember when I grew up, it was just like obedience training in the local hall, you know. And that's what you did once a week. You used to take your dog there, get embarrassed when your dog didn't follow, and get wound up by all the other dogs there. And that's what you did to be a good dog owner. That's what you did. And I think now the shift that we're talking about is this real shift of wanting to understand our dogs more. And I mean, these days there's just a wealth of information everywhere, and it becomes quite confusing, I think, for people. But the the essence of dog listening is that really truly understanding your dog, and that's why we love it, isn't it? Because
Mm,
it's moving away from obedience and going, let's understand our dog, let's get on the same page as our dog, let's
yeah.
really truly get how they're seeing the world, you know.
Yeah. And you mentioned there the embarrassment and the difficulty sometimes in those old school training classes. I've certainly been there. We've done a YouTube on that. Early on in our YouTube schedule, we talked about my journey with Chile. And the shame is huge it was for me, and I know it's for other people. You know, we feel like bad owners if our dog is doing something, and the more public it is, the bigger the shame. So we're just trying to help our clients let go of that feeling of having to control every single little part of their dog and actually build trust instead. And I think when we do that, actually, it doesn't just change the dog; it changes us. We, when we stop trying to control so much, we stop feeling so much shame because we've got a little bit more empathy about what the dog is doing, and so more understanding. So rather than now going, oh God, that's so embarrassing, he's really embarrassing me, we're starting to think, okay, he's telling me he's overwhelmed. What can I now do to show him that I've got this and he doesn't need to?
Yeah.
So it kind of takes the heat out of the relationship, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It turns
Sure.
the sort of struggle for control into a partnership more. Have you seen, that sort of mirroring of when an owner's calm creates calm in a dog?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, just last week I had a follow up with a client that I've been working with, and she just hadn't got that kind of confidence around walking her dog. She got a big golden retriever, and he kept like jumping up in the air every time he was spooked by something, and she was really panicking about walking him. And once we got her to a point where she was calmer and more relaxed because she didn't feel she had to get around the walk and back again, and we just took it step by step, the difference, the dog was just responding to her calm and confident energy. And she was like, actually, the less she did, the more confidence he had in her. And
Mm.
it was wonderful to see that relationship develop over the 90 minutes we were together, just doing that accompanied walk together. And her confidence just skyrocketed as well. She was like, "Oh, I can do it. I can walk him without him, flying up in the air. And I can control the situation. I can communicate with him in a way he understands." And so, yeah, that was a perfect example. So
Yes.
yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah. Oh,
Mm,
that sounds lovely.
mm,
Thanks, Kate. So maybe let's leave this chat with a question to those who are watching and listening. Are you also rethinking this? Are you also ready to move beyond commands and corrections and more into a space where your dog feels understood? Because when you change the way that you see your dog and you see what your dog's behaviour is telling you, the dog changes the way that they see the world too.
mm.
So, Yeah, just leave you with that question. But thank you for joining us today. If you wouldn't mind, please don't forget to click the little bell that's next to the video. That's going to subscribe you to our channel, and that will let you know when we post out our next video. You'll also be helping us to get this very important message across as widely as possible too. So thanks very much, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.